Hey, how's everyone doing today? I hope it's well. I'm doing pretty good myself. Today, I'm coming at you with some One Piece. I know I'm finally doing what my name says. If you didn't get that, Marcus D chosen. It's D. If you don't know what that is, watch some more One Piece. That's all I gotta say. But yeah, that's actually my actual initials too. Shout out to the moms for that. But today, I want to talk to you guys about some Devil Fruit Awakening. So sit back, relax, grab you a I don't know, a soda, and I don't know, maybe a bag of Fritos. Who knows? Get you a fucking Pop Tart or something, and enjoy the show. Now, if you don't know what a Devil Fruit Awakening is, once again, you should probably watch some more One Piece or read some. Yeah, you could get caught up on One Piece. But if you don't know what it is, it's basically when the Devil Fruit user unlocks the full potential of their fruit. And they can do this in a various means of ways. They could just like train with it a lot, kind of basic. I feel like Law kind of if you kind of already have some prior knowledge about things pertaining to the fruit, because Law, he like did a bunch of medical shit, and then he got the Ope no Mi, which is basically just the fucking doctor fruit. So I feel like he kind of got an easier time getting his awakening. But you could also just always die like Luffy. That's always a solid option. Now, with that being said, we honestly don't know of too many Devil Fruit users. First ones we saw were the Impel Down guards, but they really weren't complete awakenings. They were a little slow. They just did whatever the fucking dominatrix lady said, so they were just mindless beasts. But they did have boosted fucking attack power and endurance, so they had the basic awakening of a Zoan, but were just mindless, taken over by their fruit. And that's another thing that the Zoans seem to have a mind of their own, especially maybe all devil fruits kind of have a will of their own, but especially the Zoans seem to have their own will, and whatever, if you don't have a strong enough will to compete with the devil fruit, then it's going to take you over. But the first fully realized devil fruit awakening we saw was the fallen angel himself, Don Quixote. Flamingo. And Mr. Fallen Angel himself has the string fruit, which he uses to manipulate with his awakening. He can manipulate the environment and turn it into string. Now, the next awakened user we see is Mr. Katakuri. Ding, ding. Now, Katakuri is another Paramecia Delfruit user, and he has the Mochi Mochi no Mi. And with his awakening, he does much the same as Doflamingo and manipulates the environment into Mochi, and he can control it at his will. Now, the next three awakenings actually take place on Wano, and it starts off with Mr. Kid and Law. And they use their awakenings to defeat Big Mom. Kid's awakening allowed him to use his magnet fruit to magnetize people. So then everything would just attract to Big Mom, and she would just begin hit with everything. It was pretty good. And then Law's awakening allowed him to use Clume. Don't hate on me. K-Room. And that just allowed him to basically bypass Big Mom's hockey and everything and just straight extend his sword like into her and then basically do like this internal shock type attack, and that did a decent amount of damage, and the two of them together ended up defeating one of the Emperor's Big Moms, so that was pretty impressive. And then we go on to see Luffy's awakening, and obviously this is the most impressive awakening in the series, being the what we thought was the Gum Gum fruit awakening, but turns out to be the Nika Nika fruit. So Luffy's Nika Nika fruit is actually a Zoan type, and when he awakens this fruit, it's basically just Toon Force. He just gets to do whatever his imagination pleases, and this allows him to defeat Kaido. And the last two awakenings that I know of, at least, I'm anime only. Please don't spoil me. I probably should have said that earlier. That was a bad call, but don't spoil me. Anime only. The only other two that I know of is leopard fruit, which Lucci has, and Kaku's giraffe. And both of those look very similar when they're awakened. And they look very similar to Luffy, in fact, but instead of Luffy's white ring that he has, they have like it's just the same thing but black. And I'm gonna get into that a little bit later because I'm curious on the Zoan awakenings, but that is all the awakenings that I know of thus far. There might be some more going on in Elbath, but I don't know about none of that. And also, am I the only one that totally thought that Bonnie's recent Nika Nika transformation, her future where she's Nika, I totally thought that was an awakening. I guess not. And Robin too. I thought her devil thing in Wano. I thought that was totally an awakening as well. But from everything I've seen online, that does not seem to be the case. Now, with all that being said, we've only seen 4 Paramecias and 3 Zoan awakenings, not including the Impel Down guards. And we have not seen any Logia awakenings. While there isn't any confirmed Logia awakenings, it is widely speculated that the clash between Akainu and Aokiji resulted in both of them having an awakening and permanently affecting Punk Hazard. And it's also suspected that Raijin Island, I think that's what it is, the one that we see going into the New World that just constantly has the lightning raining, that was also made by possibly a previous user of the Rumble Rumble fruit that had an awakening. So one way the Logia awakenings could work is possibly just like Katakuris and Doflamingos, just turning the environment into whatever element so be they have. Light, fucking magma, smoke would be a weird one. I don't know how that would work. But I feel like a lot cooler thought, and probably just as powerful, honestly, is if they had more of an environmental kind of effect. So in the case of Ryokugyu, his plant fruit could make all the plants in the area just overgrow and just start grabbing people or something and make it into an inhospitable jungle or something. Or with the magma fruit, he could start having volcanoes pop up and just seeping out magma everywhere. Or the light fruit, it could maybe make all the sunbeams just unbearable and it blinds everyone. I think that'd be a really good one. But I think it'd just be a little bit more cool if they had more of a environmental rule rather than just, oh, the floor is lava, deal with that. Or it could just be that Logias don't have any awakenings, like they kind of already are just overwhelmingly powerful, like we've seen pretty much all in the Marine 4 War. Their devil fruits alone were just destructive as all could be. I think Alkiji's fruit is probably one of the best in the verse, just off rip, because we see this man freezing over the ocean for fucking miles.
少し離れてろ。アイス H。
This in a pirate world is overwhelmingly strong. So that's already awakening tier kind of power. They might not need any more than that. And Akainu too, with his magma fruit, that literally you don't need hockey when you can just burn holes through people. It's magma. It really doesn't get any better than that. Now going back to Luffy and the other Zoan awakenings, they all have a very similar design with the floating cloud, whether it be white or black. And well, we've only seen the white cloud with Luffy and technically Bonnie, but I think that was more of her kind of like copying Luffy more than her actually like doing it. I don't know the implications, but so only Luffy's really done it, and then we've seen Lucci and Kaku's awakening, and they both had a black ring around their head when they awakened. So basically, I just want to see more from the Zoan Devil Fruit awakenings because all we saw from Lucci and Kaku was they kind of got, well, actually Kaku just got diffed. Kaku just lost to Seraphim or whatnot. We didn't even see anything from him. And Lucci, he put up an okay showing up against Lucci or Luffy. He was trying his best, but Luffy was just in his bag work there. So there was really nothing he could do. And yeah, so he also had his little showing with Zoro, and that was pretty good. But all they really got from that was boosted attack power and maybe some boosted defense, boosted speed, just boosted stats. They didn't get any cool abilities or anything, none of that. While on the other hand, the only other Zoan awakening that we've seen, other than the fucking impel down guards, again, the irrelevant. Other than them, Luffy had an absolute spectacle of an awakening. And obviously it's the main character, it's the fucking special fruit and whatnot, but he went from, kind of having some Toon Force with the gears and whatnot, obviously just the rubber powers. That doesn't explain it fully what he is doing there. But he goes from that to being able to manipulate the environment into rubber, and not just in the way like Dofi and Katakuri did by changing the stuff into string or into mochi or whatever. He actually rubberizes it so it stays whatever it is, but it's now bouncy. And he can do this to people too. So one of the crazy showings, he is bouncing off of literal lightning bolts as they're striking down. He's just ding, 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 ding. And he can also just, pull shit out of thin air now. Toon Force again. You just manipulate his body in whatever way. In absolute leagues of difference than the awakenings that Kaku and Lucci showed us. And I'm just wondering if that's all that other Zoans have to offer other than Luffy, the goat, the king, the god. So we've talked about a couple of the Paramecia awakenings already, that being Doflamingo's, Katakuri's, which kind of did the manipulation of the environment, and Kid's, which were both pretty unique, with Kid having the magnetize other people and Kid with his croom stuff. It's complicated bull crap. So seeing those four awakenings already lets me know that the Paramecias can kind of just be whatever, as they've always been. Not really having to be in the template of Zoans just seem to get just generically stronger in all their stats, or the Logias I feel like are just going to manipulate the environment in some way. Now there's a lot of cool and powerful awakenings that I can think of with these fruits, like Tremor fruit, Toki's, what was it, like Rewind fruit, something like that. We could do frickin' Moria's Shadow fruit. That would have a dope ass awakening. But I got a couple here laid out. pretty much just like my favorite fruits, but I just kind of had some ideas for awakenings for them. So I'm gonna start off with my all-time favorite fruit being the Munch Munch fruit. I know a wacky pick, but it's fucking cool. You can't lie. There's a lot of things to love about the Munch Munch fruit. You can eat anything, you know. It's pretty great for that. Wapple, he was able to eat a bunch of scrap metal and random toys, whatever, and he made a whole new metal, which made him very rich. So that's pretty freaking cool. And then all the crap you've been eating throughout the day, people's houses, the cannons, whatever, you can implement those into your body. Now, it looks ridiculous when Waffle does it, and probably when anyone does it, but you can't lie, that shit's cool. Like, boom, cannon arm. That's just epic. And then to top it off, you can also eat people and implement those people I don't know if he didn't implement the people into his body. He combined the people and factory style spat them out and made a whole new combo fusion person.
合体我こそはドラム王国最強の戦士
That's just amazing. That's just amazing. If you can do this with other devil fruit users and kind of like bypass the whole oh you ate more than one devil fruit thing, you're gonna die. This fruit's actually kind of cracked. But I think that the awakening for this fruit has a lot of potential. So the first idea I have for a Munch Munch fruit awakening is allowing the user to have an endless limit to their ability to consume stuff and to be able to grow and implement those objects into their bodies. So basically it would just be a stacking force of they eat, they grow, they can eat more, they grow, and it just keeps building up until they're Zunisha sized monster. Now, the second idea I have is kind of a wacky one, but I think it could be pretty cool nevertheless. And it would allow the user to, well, Wapple kind of has, I should explain this. Wapple has this insatiable hunger that he has going on. So when he ate the Munch Munch fruit, he also became a fucking glutton and he couldn't stop eating whatever it be around him. So he has to constantly eat, and I think it would be a cool thing to allow him to implement that hunger onto other people. So then it just makes everyone, insatiably hungry. And I think this would actually be quite effective against Monkey D. Luffy himself. He's already kind of a food driven person. If it isn't the One Piece, food is probably his second biggest goal. And I think it would be quite effective against him, making him insatiably hungry. It'd probably work. And for the final and probably most powerful idea, the vacuum. And honestly, Wapple might have the capabilities of doing this already. He's already kind of tapping into a little bit of that Toon Force. But I think if he could, his awakening would allow him to AoE suck in all of this stuff in the environment. It'd be very powerful because he can just then combine all that stuff and just keep launching it out like a freaking Gatling gun of just random stuff and people. And if you were a smart cookie with this fruit, you could combo some crazy stuff together in your stomach and make a bomb or something. But yeah, I think there's a lot of potential with the Munch Munch fruit. Definitely a slept on fruit. One of those earlier ones that kind of just got swept under the rug, but Wapple's fruit is definitely quite a contender if it wasn't being held by Wapple. So the second awakening I'm going to be talking about today is Mr. Basil Hawkins Double Fruit, the straw fruit. It's got a lot going for it. It lets him manipulate straw in any way. He can reinforce himself with it, make little straw nail weapons with it. It allows him to make like a straw monster, which is pretty cool. And the most powerful part is it allows him to link up these little straw voodoo doll type things with a person, and if he takes any fatal damage or anything like that, it'll redirect that to the person he has the dolls associated with. And I think he can have like 10 of these or so. And this just allows him to evade death, and it's pretty effective. So, the first idea I have for the Straw Fruit Awakening is basically just the Death Note. So if he sees your name in a wanted poster, whatever it be, he can just mark that down and add it to his little straw voodoo guys. And then, like I said, if he takes that fatal damage, it's getting redirected to you. So the second idea I have for Hawkins Awakening basically just plays into his tarot card reading. Now, I've seen this in a couple of different anime. I feel like Hunter x Hunter is one, but just basically a jackpot style thing where they could pull something really good. Or I feel like with the tarot cards, there's actually bad things too. But Hawkins kind of has the little bit of a buffer with his straw dudes if anything like fatal were to happen with getting a downside. So I think that could also play in pretty good. But then it could also draw him a bunch of freaking really good stuff that just makes him overpowered, and then he can't lose or whatever. And the final idea I have for Mr. Hawkins Awakening is basically kind of just a Moria style thing. So he just got his butt whooped by the Straw Hats, seeing that they have a solid crew, and how he was just betraying the people that are now aligned with the Straw Hats as well. He betrayed them, and now he just got swept. So he could maybe kind of adopt that Moria mentality of like he needs a strong crew behind him or whatnot to actually be good. So I feel like if he started turning the people that he were to voodooize into straw people almost with his awakening, I feel like that could be a really cool idea. And then he could just build up a legion of just straw dudes and actually have like a sizable force. Now, the second Devil Fruit Awakening I want to be talking to y'all about today is Buggies, the Chop Chop fruit. And I feel like this is a fruit that a lot of people kind of want to see the awakening for, or maybe just see something for this character. Maybe the buggy glow up. I'm waiting for it, even more than the Usopp glow up. I've given up on that one. But this fruit, if you don't know what it does, pretty early One Piece, but Chop Chop fruit lets him break up his body, and then he can levitate it around. So it gives him a good early game defense. If they don't have hockey, it's kind of hard to hit them or whatnot. I mean, Luffy in his wacky way figured it out, but if you don't just bundle them up in a bag or whatnot, you can't hit them. So the first awakening idea I have for the Chop Chop fruit is pretty wacky. Well, I pretty much just give him Shigaraki's abilities from My Hero. Just let him disintegrate anything he touches. So just chop chop mode to the extreme, but just on whatever he touches, he just fucking and it just vaporizes. Now, the second awakening idea I have for him, honestly, I think is the most suiting and coolest. So, just buggy clones. And I was thinking just when he chops up himself into different pieces, he could then like regenerate those pieces into new full buggies. And then it could just be infinite buggy army. It'd be glorious. So just let him go full Naruto out here and rule the world with buggies. And the last idea I have for Buggy's fruit, pretty simple. Just let him chop up his environment as he sees. Just chop up all the houses, and then he can make them levitate around and stuff. And then he could just have his own little circus going on, just make Ferris wheels out of stuff and manipulate the world however he sees fit. I think that'd be pretty suiting for the clown himself. Now, this last fruit has got to be one of my absolute favorites, and it's also in possession of one of my favorite characters, the pawpaw fruit, which was eaten by the dog, Mr. Kuma. Now, there's a lot to love about Kuma and this fruit, but the fruit in specific has a lot going for it. It makes you have these two little paws on your hands, and basically you can repel anything with these paws, whether it be attacks, obviously air. He can make compressed air attacks, and he can also repel emotions, pain, and memories. So there's a lot going on there. So with the awakening, well, the first one I have going on, I was thinking of kind of playing into his ability to remove the emotions or the pain or the memories or whatever it may be. And then we've seen with his air, he can do it with the air specifically, but I don't think he can do it with emotions. He can like compress it and build it up and just make a massive bomb of it or whatnot. I was thinking let him do this with the memories and the emotions and the pain too. So this could be really effective for like offense, obviously, if he just grabs some pain out of himself or another, whatever, and then just compressed it a bunch, amplified it, and then just shot it at him. That'd be really effective. You don't even need to be grabbing pain from people. You can just build it up once. Or then it can also be really good for if you need to convey a message to a lot of people. You can compress a memory or something or an emotion, and you could build it up and then just spread it out. Do the Urza shock, but not destructive.
ウルススショック。
The second awakening idea I have actually I got the thought while thinking of this one. It's kind of just basically the same thing, letting him get a lot of emotions or pain or whatever, or memories, but it's more like he gathers it up from a lot of people, so he can just like, AoE freaking like Goku spirit bomb type thing, grab all the pain or whatnot from a bunch of people, and then he could like, maybe shoot it off and relieve people of a bunch of pain or something, or relieve a bunch of people of whatever, or he can then send it back at whoever, but basically just a different version of that first one. And for the last, but certainly not least, the final Devil Fruit ability that I wish Kuma had. I wish he had the ability to use his Pawpaw Fruit to repel back in time to get Dragon off his ass and move in this story. But if he could possibly even get the man to look north, then I think that'd be a great enough feat for an awakening enough. So yeah, that's all I got. So yeah, that's some of my thoughts on the Devil Fruit Awakenings. I hope you thought it was pretty interesting. I'll be doing some more One Piece pretty soon here. I just want to get caught up to the manga, but so I'm not like asking these questions and then you guys are like, "Oh, this is already answered in the manga. Just get caught up, bro." And I'm just looking dumb. But so I'm gonna be catching up with the manga soon, and more One Piece on the way. Be expecting that. Leave me a comment on any of your Devil Fruit ideas, and while you're down there, maybe leave a little subscription. And that's all I got for y'all today. Peace.
Who's that there? Oh, just a little cutie coming to watch my soda review. Gotta make sure we're all good. Check our surroundings. Okay, alright. Mug root beer.